Hey everyone, Max here with the deck tech for the second MinMax battle. Briefly going over the decks that I'm going to be playing today to try to take down Min. The first deck I'm going to be playing is 4-color Delver. Thanks to old trusty Wren 6 here. The deck is really powerful now. It's Wren 6 fixes your mana and basically lets you cast the best cards in 4 colors. The main deck is mostly... I was going to say mostly Rug, but that's not even true. It's playing some Thoughtseize and some Abrupt Decay. But it's also just playing green for like Goyf Abrupt Decay, and red for Bolt, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and Wren 6. So it's a blue deck splashing 3 colors, which is really how to think of it. It's running 20 lands because honestly you can't really get away with fewer with all of these color requirements in the deck. I was thinking about the list a little more, and one change I want to make now is to go up to 4 Wren 6 and down to only 2 Thoughtseize. The reason I'm doing that is the games where you resolve a Wren are just so good that I'm willing to allow myself to be a little bit Wren flooded, if you will, to just increase my chances of having the Wren. So making that change and seeing how that one goes. Going over to the sideboard, we've got 3 surgical extractions for graveyard hate pieces. What was the 4th Thoughtseize is now the 3rd Thoughtseize. Just really meant it's there to answer combo decks and control decks. 2 Diabolic Edict, which should be Liliana's Triumph. And the reason why we're making this swap, if you're curious, is because the depths decks these days play Veil of Summer. And this gives the player Hexproof, which counters Diabolic Edict, but does not counter Liliana's Triumph because Liliana's Triumph doesn't target. And then it's got your normal plethora of creature hate, blue hate, artifact hate, control hate, and just ways to blow up tokens or an inefficient answer to pretty much anything. The second deck I'm going to play today is Wren Prison. It's a Carne Wren deck that's really meant to lock your opponent out of the game with Chalice, Trinisphere, and Snaring Bridge. And then it plays Wren 6 to recur the lands and Wasteland lock your opponent. Karn the Great Creator to win the game with like Mycos and Flatus or what have you. And just overall board control. Thought-Knot Seer is basically a 4-mana Thoughtseize that blocks. You'll see the deck in action. It's a really weird deck that just aims to lock out the game depending upon how the opponent's interacting. It's a weird deck. It's got Chalice on 1 and Ancient Stirrings. It's got Soul Lands and red-green cards. You want to keep your hand empty for Ensnaring Bridge, but you want to recur Punishing Fire. It's a weird deck. It's a hard deck to play, but hopefully I don't futz it up too hard. The sideboard's really mostly a wish board for Karn. Then you've got a couple creature removal spells in there. That's really how to think of it. For sideboarding, you want to leave your best cards in the sideboard, the ones that you'd immediately wish for, and bring in some of the good but not perfect choices into the main deck to just increase your density of answers. The third deck I'm going to play today is Dredge. Min's not going to expect this one. I am not very experienced with the deck, but I bought it recently online. It was very inexpensive, so I figured it could be fun to do, and it's a great shell for Hogak, Ariz Necropolis. Looks very spooky, but you can cast them from your graveyard, go crazy. It's Dredge. It's exactly Dredge. It hasn't changed in years, except for a couple new cards, but they don't really change the game plan of the deck. And the fourth deck I'm going to play today is Steel Stompy, which I am finally splashing a color in. I've been probably one of the last holdouts on splashing a color in Steel Stompy. A lot of people were playing green for chokes going into the past, but I figured that wasn't worth it when you could just play colorless cards that were good against blue decks instead. But now, thanks to Plague Engineer, I think you finally have something worth splashing for. And the reason why that's the case is that Plague Engineer answers the biggest threats to this deck, which are like fast goblins or True Name Nemesis, which is the card that really destroys this deck. So we're playing a Plague Engineer in the sideboard, and a Sword of Truth and Justice in the name, which in the main deck, which also gives protection from True Name Nemesis and proliferates all the countered creatures like this one and everything thanks to Steel Overseer. And then the sideboard's got, Graveyard Hate, Combo Hate, a single Ensnaring Bridge at this point. Only one is a little bit iffy, but 15 cards is the limit, and so I had to cut from 2 to 1 on Ensnaring Bridges. Not sure I love it, but here we are. And 3 Karn Sign of Urza to beat the control decks. So we're going to hop into this battle with Min and see if we can take it down with these decks. See you all soon.